Here we are back again. I'm excited to be sitting here with my man, Andy Levitre. Andy, welcome to the Intangible Podcast.
Man, thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming, but I'm glad to make it finally.
I mean, we go back, way back of carpooling together to work every day. We lived around the corner from each other. I mean, I can't believe it's taken us this long to get here.
I know, man. Every time I run into people, they're like, oh, hey, do you know Chris? And I was like, man, yeah, me and him used to carpool to work together every day.
I know. I ran into somebody. He was like, hey, man, I didn't know you know Andy. I said, yeah, man, to go way back. Carpooling together.
That's right. Good cup of coffee on the way in.
Yeah. And I mean, that's who really got me into coffee. This guy right here got me into coffee, man, because he is very, like a true old lineman. Once you get down a rabbit hole, you try to figure out all the little nuances to things. So like, I mean, how many different coffee apparatus did you have?
Man, I think at that time I must have had like 10 probably. And then I think I've narrowed it down. I've actually kind of reverted back to just like the one in like a pot where you just press the button and it drips it down. I kind of just for like after having kids, I didn't have kids at the time, but now it's like anything that's easy to do, man. I'm all about that life.
Convenience. Yeah. Well, Andy, man, I'm excited to have you here on the Intangible Podcast. I mean, you went on and had a phenomenal career. You played at Oregon State, and then you go on and get drafted in the NFL. Have a really stellar career. Played here. Started out in Buffalo, played here at Tennessee Titans, and then finished your career with the Atlanta Falcons. And now you've kind of flip-flopped back and forth, going back home to California and then coming back to Nashville. We're excited to have you back here. But what we want to do is kind of take you back. I want you to take us back to how you grew up. What was those foundational pieces that's made you who you are? And a lot of it is, again, back to the name of the podcast, the intangibles, finding those little pieces that from hindsight we can look back and say, these are some of the things that shaped us who we are today. And so take us back, man. Take us back to,
all right,
to the California days, man.
Yeah. All right. So I grew up in this really small town in the middle of the woods called Lomond, California. Most people probably don't even know where that is, but it's in Santa Cruz County.
Santa Cruz. Wait a minute. Time out. I mean, this is the first time I've seen you in actual real shoes, because you normally walk around in flip-flops. I mean, it's 10 degrees outside and you have flip-flops on. What's going on? What's happening to you?
When I was putting these on, I was like, man, I should wear sandals, but I sprained my foot and I should be in a boot right now. I left it in the car for the show, but I just put the shoes on just for the show. Man. I'm going to take them off after this. Go right back into my comfort zone.
All right.
So I grew up in this town called Lomond. There was maybe like couple thousand. I don't know. I think there's like 6,000 people there now. Maybe it was like 4 or 5 when I grew up.
Yeah.
Small town. Man, I had like a creek in my backyard, a mountain on this other side of the creek. So pretty like out there, My grandfather and my dad always, preached working hard and putting in the effort to, in school, in sports. And so I think that really got ingrained in me at a young age. And at some point I had like an aha moment in high school. I was actually really big when I was a kid. I got up my junior year of high school. I was 340 pounds. I don't know if you knew that or not.
340 pounds?
Yeah.
I think I did know that.
I was 16 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I remember in PE in high school, I think my freshman year I was like 270. And then my sophomore year I was 300, and then my junior year I was 340. And I remember we stepped on the scale at PE, and the teacher was like, "Oh, 340," and I was like, "That thing's wrong. Get out of here! There's no way I gained 40 pounds." Sure, I don't know if I can swear on here, but sure as shit, I was 340, and I think I had a realization at that point that I needed to change something, and so I had a good buddy of mine, Ty Locatelli, who I still keep in touch with periodically. Kind of help me figure out a diet plan to lose some weight. Cause I really I had made a determination that I wanted to go to college and play football. So, I know, I guess from my standpoint, anything I wanted to set my mind to, and that was kind of the start of it, was like, you set your mind to it, you work hard, you can get it done. So that was kind of the trajectory that, that decision had sent me on.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Parents, the recruiting process is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever face for your child. And talent isn't enough. Coaches are looking for the intangibles, like composure, coachability, communication, and leadership. And that's what Team Q measures. Get clear insights into your child's intangibles so they stand out when it matters most. Go to teamq.io and help your athlete unlock greatness.
How did you put on so much weight so fast? I mean, again, you wasn't a big sports guy, so it wasn't like you was putting on the weight to go play football.
Yeah.
You were just.
I had never like lifted weights before high school. So I was like, I remember the first time I put on like 135 on a bench, and I was that big and I couldn't even like bench 135. Really? And I was like, dang.
Really?
Yeah. So for me, a lot of my success and what's gotten me to where I am today is a lot of hard work. And pushing past, being that big and doing conditioning. I mean, I remember I could barely walk the mile in PE. And so, changing your mindset to kind of just go for it and taking small increments to get to where you want to go. That's kind of what got me there.
So was the home life, was that the thing that really pushed you to have this aha moment? It was like, hey, I got to get out of here. I want to go play college ball somewhere. Let me get myself in shape.
I think I just had my mind set on this is what I want to do. And this is how I'm going to get there. And so my plan was always to go to work, whether it was on the field, whether it was in the weight room, whether it was in school. It was like, hey, if you want to get into a college, you got to have good grades. So put in the effort at school. If you want to be good at football, you're going to train. So I put in the effort in the weight room, even trying to put in some extra time too, to kind of catch up being so far behind, from a physical standpoint, strength wise, being that young. So, I always felt like an underdog, I guess, kind of not really, a lot of accolades, but always kind of under the radar, just trying to work hard and get noticed, I guess. But, I feel like getting noticed wasn't really what drove me. It was more of like the hard work.
Yeah.
And then watching myself kind of grow.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get caught up? I mean, a guy at your size, struggling with 135 on the bench, like, it took a significant mind shift to really, to dive in and get there. So if you knew you wanted to go play college ball, how long did it take you to get to a position where there was eyes on you, not just because of how big you were, because you were actually road grading people? I
think what it kind of started off was like, being able to move as well as I did for being that weight, I guess made me feel like there was an opportunity there.
Yeah.
And then so fine tuning some things, my diet, exercise, things like that really helped. And I think my senior year of high school, I got down to 305.
Wow.
So still big, but like a little more manageable.
I mean, I was 315 in high school. So,
oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean, I guess you see a lot of guys that are like 270-ish, but then they
put it on later.
Yeah. I kind of went the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just naturally big.
Yeah. Right. So, the town I grew up in was not a heavily recruited town. And so back in the day, they had the VHS tapes. That was kind of like the thing, watching TV.
Yeah.
So one of my teammates' dad had a household camcorder and was sitting up in the tower filming our games. And so he basically put them on VHS for me. And I essentially made a highlight tape out of a VHS tape.
Yeah.
And the internet.
That's what we had to do back in the day.
Yeah, I know, man. It's wild to think that was, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but like those and the DVDs that are obsolete now.
I mean, think about the high school coaches who would have to like travel to hand off those like 4 games to the other high school coach, take their games and come back so we can watch film and see, get an idea of what those teams are doing.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy how time has just completely changed. Yeah. I can't even imagine getting recruited now with like the internet. There's so many people uploading stuff online. I mean, you can just get bombarded with having to watch film out there now.
The huddles and all that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I can't imagine. Yeah. I don't know what that's like yet.
Yeah. So you put together your DVDs, your highlight tape.
Yep.
And then you start sending it around to anyone who would look at it?
Basically, my grandfather was retired, so he kind of helped me. I would go online, which like the internet was still kind of new then, and found the mailing addresses for the football departments or the athletic departments, let's say. And I had to handwrite on the manila envelopes the school addresses, and then my grandfather paid for the postage to send them out.
Right.
So we must have sent it to like 100 schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like not just mostly Division 1A, but then some smaller schools like 1AA, Division 2 schools, just to like get it out there. And funny enough, my first offer was from Nick Saban at LSU.
Really?
Yeah. And I sent a tape there and they actually watched it. I got some tapes back. People would send them back and say, sorry, we're not interested. Like, I think Virginia was not interested, whatever. So like, it was pretty cool. They had just come off the 0-2 national championship at LSU when I got that offer.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, cool, man. There must be like, they must see something in me. And then that kind of rolled into a couple other offers. I think I had like 4 total. That was one of the 4. So I just thought that was a cool story, just being so like committed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like doing what you got to do to get where you want to go.
Right.
And that's a cool story that I get to share, and super thankful to my grandfather for helping me kind of through that process as well.
Were you thinking that you wanted to get far away from home, or you wanted to stay close to home? What went into that decision?
So it was Oregon State, LSU, Arizona, and Fresno State. And my brother was actually playing center at Arizona at the time. We're 2 years apart. So he was about halfway through his college career there at Arizona.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All this time, I didn't even realize. I didn't
know
really? That.
Yeah, he was playing center there.
Yeah.
He was a walk-on, and then he earned a scholarship. And then there was some coaching changes. And so, how that political stuff works sometimes.
I know how that goes.
Yeah. So, so I contemplated going there. I thought that would have been, fun to play with my brother. I just at the time was like, man, it's too hot in Arizona. I don't want to go play football out there. Probably being as big as I was too, right? And then Fresno State, I didn't really have any interest there. I respected Pat Hill as a coach, and he was the coach there at the time, but I didn't feel like that was a good opportunity for me. LSU, I had called. I remember calling. I was in the parking lot at high school, just about to get out the door for school for the day, and I remember calling and being like, "Hey, I want to call and commit to LSU," and they were like, "Oh, that's so great, but I think we got all our guys that we want to commit for the year." I think I was like on the bottom of their list of scholarship offers, and so they were kind of like, "You could be a preferred walk-on," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so. I ain't going into debt." So, not to say that Oregon State was like the default, but I really enjoyed Mike Riley as a coach, as a person.
Yeah,
I still think he's a tremendous human being, and the staff that he surrounds himself with. It felt like a family away from home.
Yeah.
And so I remember on my recruiting trip, I really enjoyed that. And a lot of things fell into place for me too once I got to Oregon State to help me, kind of advance my career as well.
You start to get to the, into the real routine of what it really looks like to play in, a D1 university. You get to Oregon State. Did you ever want to quit?
No, I don't think I ever did. I don't think I ever felt that way. I felt like I was very intrigued at like the process, and going from high school to Division I, you're not used to being around guys like as big or bigger than you.
Yeah. And
so that was like probably the biggest moment to me. It was like, damn, all these dudes are like huge. And you're used to playing against some high school guys, and there's some athletes out there, but at least where I grew up, it wasn't like a hotbed of talent. Right. So being around people that talented was probably like the biggest shocker for me.
Yeah.
But again, my whole thing was like to put in the work, right? So even if I wasn't successful, or there's a learning curve for something, it was kind of like this slow burn of like just kind of trust the process.
Yeah.
Keep putting in the effort, keep putting in the work, and things kind of will work out for you.
Was it a gratifying feeling to make that to get there? But then also, what was that transition like? Did you what was the highs and lows? I would ask.
It's been kind of a story of my life of just, and I know coaches coach it all the time. Maybe that's where it came from, but just kind of trying to be like even keel, like don't get too high on the highs, don't get too low on the lows. I think especially early on and trying to get playing time, there was some frustration in terms of like feeling like you should be out there, but it's just like not your time. Maybe there's like a guy that's a senior that, deserves the time because they put in the work kind of thing. So, some of those things you just got to kind of bite your tongue and just go to work, and like your opportunity will come. And, I was able to somewhat early in my career, I didn't start, 4 years in a row, but I kind of was like a 6-man early in my career. And inevitably somebody got hurt, and I was able to kind of get my foot in the door and kind of make a name for myself there.
Yeah. Now, when you think about this day and age with the transfer portal and all of that's going on, do you think if the transfer portal was in functioning when we were in college, like would you stayed or would you left?
That is, I don't see. That's where I don't know, like that underdog mentality. I feel like nobody probably would know about me, so I would just kind of keep on my way. But I don't know. I don't know what that's. I never really got the opportunity. I would guess it'd be something comparable to like a pro scout in the NFL. Yeah. Which, man, I don't know. That's maybe later in my career. I don't know. But not to say that I would have left. I really enjoyed my the coaches I had there and the group of guys we had there.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to put us in make us try to start thinking about some of these kids in the situation that they're in, because it's available to leave. And we went through our process, and in hindsight, I can look back and say, man, I am very thankful that I went through the process. I didn't leave. I didn't have that in front of me, dangling in front of me that, I can leave and go somewhere else. And nor would I ever left Ole Miss. But at the same time, like, still try to put yourself in the shoes and think about it. Yeah. And, especially when things are not going the way you want them to go. Right.
The wiser me, like being where I am now, would be like, don't leave. But if I was back in that age, just that phase of life, I couldn't tell you, man. I mean, there's just so much temptation to get, make a ton of money. Some people won't make it to the NFL. So that's like their chance to cash in, And so I don't know, the education part of it seems hard to me, because you transfer and not all your credits may transfer. So then you're stuck maybe not getting a degree, and then you maybe don't make it to the next level. And now don't have a degree. You didn't, make a bunch of money playing professional, and now you're kind of out fending for yourself, and like it's almost like you graduated high school and you're just out on the street now. It's like you gotta that part of it I have a hard time grasping, but there is a lot of temptation, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I mean, you were an academic guy your whole career. I mean, like, even getting to college, your focus was the academic side of it. How did you balance that side, both sides of it, from an academic standpoint? And then also, it sounds like you were not just a guy who was in the weight room when it was scheduled, but you were doing a lot of extra stuff as well.
Yeah. I guess, going through high school, and my dad and my grandfather are always talking about getting good grades and kind of harping on me for that. I always prioritize getting my degree. I feel like, because if I didn't have a good GPA, I wouldn't be able to play football anyways. Right. And then also, if football never worked out for me, which I had no idea how it was going to turn out for me, then at least I had something to fall back on. Yeah. And so, those two things kind of kept me motivated to, do well in school and get good grades. I think I had like a 3.6 maybe for college, which is cool. Yeah. I ain't no Stanford guy, but no.
You could have got an Ole Miss.
Oh, really? I wonder if I sent him my tape. I'll have to go back and check.
I'm just kidding.
They probably don't want me. Man. Yeah. So grades were always important to me. And then, the football thing and putting in the extra work. So like when I was working out or was training, maybe just doing a little bit extra, even after a session, finding different ways, you kind of go through that journey of like recovery and stuff. And then even more so in the, once you get to the NFL, it seems like more accessibility to things, or people are more in tune with that world once you make it to the professional level.
It's your job now. It's
right.
The only balance you have is home life and
that's right,
and showing up.
Yeah, and so that was kind of what I prioritized. And then I went out and had fun a little bit, probably not as much as most other people did. With going out with some friends and whatnot, but. I think I prioritized the football and school side of things, and then the extracurricular stuff was kind of if I had time for it, which we all do. We all find time.
We definitely find time. Definitely find time. All right. And well, I like to do a segment and in a midpoint, and it's, we like to do a little 2-minute going into halftime. So some rapid fire questions for you.
Uh-oh. All Mark warned me about
you
this.
Ready? Yeah. You ready for this?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Because you talk about, how quickly you put on some weight and things like that. So my first question I got to ask is, what was your favorite restaurant you went to growing up?
Round Table Pizza.
Round Table Pizza. It's like right off the rip. No hesitation.
Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite memory about playing at Oregon State?
At Oregon State? Oh man. Just the class that I came in with, I feel like we were just so unique and close, and like everybody had that similar mentality. And it just made it fun. Like there's some really good football teams I've been on in the NFL, and like I'd say that class that I was with in college is up there with some of the better groups of teammates I've been with.
What was your superpower as an offensive lineman?
My punch.
I would have went with that one.
Yeah,
man, your punch was like, I remember just holding the bags for the first time I ever. We started doing drills and stuff together. First time you punched me, I was just like, and I had a pad on. So I was like, oh my gosh, this guy got a killer point. So, all right, that's great, man. We're going to jump back in. So, you're starting to finally get your groove. The door cracked open and somebody, they let you in, and then you didn't give it back. How did you mentally start to prepare yourself for what that next level looked like for you? Was it just staying focused on, day in and day out, or was it something that, I need to get this strong and this bigger to get there? Were you starting to stack more goals up to get that, to make sure you had an opportunity when that time came?
I'd say it was kind of like having a vision of what success looks like to you in the present moment, and when you're out there on the field, and then stacking that, right? Yeah. Stacking the success that you've been having. How can I be successful, at this block or that block or whatever, and kind of like the smaller details. And then knowing that kind of takes care of the bigger picture of where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So.
And then next thing you know, you're sitting there stacking those days, and it's draft day.
Yeah.
I mean, what was draft day like for you?
I was at my friend's house. We had a little barbecue, and just like some, like I said, a small town. So like some of the people from my town came over, friends, family, and we were just hanging and kind of barbecuing. And I think I was in the bathroom, and it was I think it was my girlfriend at the time had got my phone, and it was like a call from New York. And I think that it was the Cowboys were on the clock. And I don't think there was any chance I thought I was going to the Cowboys. And so I came back, got the call, and they were basically like, hey, this is the Buffalo Bills. We're trying to trade for you right now. And so the trade ended up going through the second round and ended up getting picked, man.
In that moment, because I remember for me, in that when I got drafted, all of that hard work, all of the, the hard times and all that, it just all came flooding through. And it was just like this joy. Did you have that kind of flood of excitement, joy?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like it was like, a culmination of all the work that I had put in, but then also knowing like how much work there is still to be done to get, like now things get real. Like you're not playing against people, within a couple of years of your age. You're playing, some guys have been playing this game for a long time.
Right.
Cool story about the draft though is the Cowboys traded for me, and then the Cowboys ended up using their pick from the trade to pick up my buddy Victor Butler. So that was cool. He was my teammate at Oregon State.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Now, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? Did you have one of those?
Yeah, we played the Titans actually in the Hall of Fame game, and I think it was it Vickerson maybe?
Yeah,
Kevin
Vickerson.
Was he played D tackle here for the Titans?
Played D tackle.
Yeah, and I got a bull rush pretty early on, and that was kind of that was my welcome to the NFL moment.
Boy, he embarrassed me one time when I was in Chicago.
Oh, really?
And I've been playing center all this time, and then when I got to Chicago, the first year I was there, I played right guard, and then the next year they moved me to left guard. And so I remember we were in I think it was a preseason game too, and now I'm trying to get my body right. You know how it is when you go switching over to left-hand side. Like, it takes some time to get your body caught up, your power leg changes and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he bull rushed me and embarrassed the shit out of me.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, yeah. I can't even believe I'm saying it right now.
You can edit that out, too.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah. But absolutely, man, that dude has some power, man. All right, so now you're in the league and you get your opportunity, and now you come in, you compete for a starting job right away, or is it, hey, we draft you in the second round, you better be ready to go?
They had some veterans that they had brought in, but it was like kind of a revamped offensive line. They brought in a lot of guys that year, some veteran guys that were brought in, and then they drafted myself and Eric Wood. I had an opportunity, I guess, to compete for the guard spot. And so I don't know, maybe it was handed to me, maybe not, but definitely a learning curve. And I know I struggled a lot, at least for the first year or two. Yeah. Just kind of trying to slow the game down, right? Everything just felt, I was moving too fast, kind of frantic. Yeah. And just getting beat on some dumb stuff. Just being young.
Part of being an old lineman. Yeah. Being a young old lineman. Yes. It happens.
So it took me a year or two to kind of settle in, but again, just kind of trusting the process, right? Like you try something, it doesn't work, you kind of diagnose it, see how you can fix it, and kind of go back to work.
Yeah.
And so that process took me a while, but I feel like
it worked out, Andy. You go on to be one of the highest paid guards.
Yeah.
In the league. I mean, I think you figured it out.
Yeah. I guess that was my thing though, is like, I never felt complacent at where I was. I was always like, hey, what can I do a little, I can do this a little bit better, try and work on this kind of thing. And I feel like I carried that through pretty much my career, up until the end, was always, and I felt almost like I could coach myself, or like I knew what was going to come out of the coach's mouth before they said it when we're watching film, in terms of like, hey, you could do this better. Cause like, I know what's expected of me, but it doesn't always come out on the field that way. Yeah. Right. So, and I'm sure you know that for playing as long as you have as well. Right.
You can see, especially when you're hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You know what you got to do. You know what you need to work on, and you just sitting there just waiting because okay, he's about to say it. He said it. I know it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how did you handle the transition from, moving from different teams? You played in Buffalo, and then the Titans signs you to a nice deal, and then you go and you play here for several years, and then you go to Atlanta, and then you end up in the Super Bowl. How did you handle all those different transitions and being able to stay locked in and focus on your craft and not let the outside noise kind of get to you?
Yeah. So I had a good run, especially those last couple of years in Buffalo. And I was feeling pretty good. I had to get my knee scoped. It was kind of a rough patch for me here in Tennessee. And it was super frustrating because I knew what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't putting that out on the field. And so that was hard for me, and battling through some injuries. I was coming off the knee surgery, and then I tore my labrum in my hip during that first year. So then I had surgery. I finished the season out, had surgery after the season. Yeah. Had come to find out after that second season, I had torn my labrum in my shoulder. I just remember though, it was like I had the knee and then the hip. I was like, dude, I can't have a third surgery. Like I'm just writing my exit out of here.
I had one of those one year I had a thumb surgery, right shoulder surgery. And then 3 weeks later, I had a labrum repair.
Oh, man.
And so I was like in a sling for 3 weeks.
Both arms?
Both arms, man. Yeah.
That's no
fun. That is no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine took care of him.
Doesn't say you figure out who loves you, because there's not a lot you can do when you're in a sling together.
For sure.
We don't need to get bogged down in those details, but you use your imagination. There's not a lot that you can do. So very, very humbling.
For sure. Yeah. You take some of those things for granted sometimes.
Yeah. So when you think about some of the guys you play with, Matt Ryan and Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was the most high maintenance quarterback that you ever played for?
High maintenance?
Yeah. Or played with.
Ooh, I don't know.
Was it Fitzy?
I wouldn't say he was high maintenance. I would put Fitz up there in the high maintenance. He was a fun dude to play with. I got to play with him for 5 years? Maybe?
Yeah.
So
hey man, Hasselbeck was a high maintenance quarterback in a good way though. He was, very demanding, in that sense.
Okay. I guess I would say Matt Ryan in terms of demanding a lot out of people or to do their job, but I wouldn't say like high maintenance, like off the field high maintenance.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about like that, but just that guy like that, he's able to hold you accountable, hold himself accountable, but also just like, we're going to play at this level and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And there's no in between.
I'd say Matt. I'd say when I got in that locker room, and I didn't know when I got traded from Tennessee, I didn't know what to expect in Atlanta, and he just really knows how to take control of a huddle, which was great. I mean, he'd been in that position and playing at a high level for that long, and so it was cool to be able to play in a huddle with somebody like that.
You go on and play in a Super Bowl, and and tell me about that journey, and which was a game that you guys had. You pretty much had won. And then, as you guys played New England, and then all of a sudden those guys come storming back with, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
What was that moment like? Because again, I remember playing, being a rookie in the Super Bowl and then not winning it and then never getting back to it, and so like they're hard to get to and hard to win.
Yes. That was my 8th season, and I had never even been to a playoff game up until that year. Wow. So like you were saying, how you never even get a chance to come back. Like most people never get a chance to even get their foot in the door.
Right.
And that's kind of how it was. I mean, I will say though, from that one season, the 16 season was unbelievable. Like literally the most fun season. If I think back to like playing in high school with your buddies where like, it doesn't even mean as much as like a game like that means. Like I just had so much fun that year. Yeah. We had like our O-line group, we were cracking jokes on the field, in the meetings. Like it was kind of one of those things where like, as long as we're performing, it's fun. And we were performing and we were having so much fun. Yeah. And it was like, I don't know, that the culture for whatever, I'd never been a part of that type of culture in a locker room before. And it was fun, man. It was like just what I needed, especially later on in my career.
Yeah.
Of having that. So anyways, it almost felt like every time we touched the ball, it was like a disappointment if we didn't get a touchdown. Like kicking a field goal, it was good to put points on the board, but it was like, man, we were so close from getting a touchdown.
Yeah.
And we should have got that. Yeah. And I think it was probably the mentality for everybody on that team. And so I'd never been on a team like that before. It was almost like you were just like hoping to get a touchdown, whereas like you were disappointed if you didn't get one. So it was fun, man. I mean, the game itself really, man, that was like a blur. It was a blur to me. My daughter was born like 2 weeks before the game.
Yeah.
And so it was as bad as it sounds. I had to like basically, my daughter was born and then we had to prepare for I think we played actually Green Bay in the NFC Championship. And then we left for Houston the week after that. So I didn't get to spend much time with my newborn at home. And so for me, especially after that game, as difficult of a game as that was to process, having the opportunity to go into being a dad for the first time actually was super relieving for me to not have to like sit there and like mull over that game.
Took your mind off of.
Yeah. So
this is life, real life here.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of like this is the important stuff. Like that game's, it is what it is, but and it'll always be a story that, I'll talk about whether it's on here or somebody's going to ask me about it.
Yeah.
But that was kind of what took the cake for me, and just getting to kind of embrace being a dad for the first time. But
y'all lost me some money on that.
Yeah. Trust me. I know. I'm sure there was a lot of people disappointed in that one. I heard a lot of people walked out of the game before at halftime too. So,
done because it was like, oh, these guys got it in a wrap.
Yeah.
But you got the other guy on the other side.
Yeah. That's why he's
the GOAT.
First ballot Hall of Famer. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as I started thinking about like all of this hard work that you put in, now you're starting to think about what is that transition out of the league? What does that look like? What kind of process did you start to have to think about as you get at the tail end of your career of like, what are those next steps for me? What do I do? How do I take that same mindset and discipline over into something else?
Yeah. Man, I still feel like I'm trying to figure out what that next thing is that I want to put all that energy into and hard work and like that passion into that I put into football. And I know whenever I flip that switch, like it's going to be good.
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. And that was difficult for me when I first left the NFL was kind of having a passion and a purpose behind what I wanted to do. I am super thankful though that I've had the opportunity to be home and watch my kids grow up for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Now that they're at a point in their life where they're in school a lot, full time, and I have some time to myself, it's kind of like, okay, now I got to figure out what it is I want to put my time and energy into.
Right.
Kind of starting to brainstorm a little bit and seeing where I want to get into and start a new career. But like I said, I know whatever it is I decide to go with, like, I know I'm going to be good at it.
Yeah. So it's really about finding that passion, and there's things along the way that you may do just to, to keep the brain sharp, to keep, just from a resource standpoint, making money or whatever it may be. But it's ultimately the goal is to find what that true passion is.
Yes.
So when you get out of bed, you're rolling out and it's not work.
Yeah. I guess for me too, it was like some guys when they're playing football, maybe have an idea of a career they want to pursue after football, whether, there's guys getting commentating, or just have kind of things in place or have set that. I guess for me, I was always like all in on football.
Yeah.
And never really focused on a lot of that stuff, even during the off seasons. And so I guess the hindsight for me was to at least start thinking about it, or, kind of putting things in place to give me a better idea when I'm done with this career that's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Doesn't last forever for everybody. So kind of having a plan in place to go to that next step. I wish I would have started that process a little sooner.
Yeah. I mean, I think over the years we get brainwashed and like, this is what it is, but it's also what I've come to learn too, is that you keep the main thing, but there's always something that you need to be thinking about, because we were fortunate to play as long as we did.
Yeah.
Not everyone is fortunate to play as long as we did.
Sure.
And so being able to have a mindset of what does this transition look like?
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important. And again, it doesn't make it easy.
Right.
But having some things in mind, because you think about it, we were talking before the show, you was thinking about maybe doing some finance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you started thinking about a lot of young kids who've been doing it for a long time, and now I got to go back and be an intern.
Right.
At 40 years old. That's, because you still got to start from the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah. And I think it's easy to be hard-headed and say like, no, I've been successful in football. I played at a high level. I should be able to get like this primo job right out of the gate. And it's like, well, no, I mean, there's people that have been doing this for years that probably have a lot more knowledge than you in this space. And so just being humble and knowing that like, you got to kind of start again. It's kind of like from going high school to college to pros, like you got to start from the bottom again and work your way back up.
Yeah. But the skill set that was developed along the way helps you make that transition faster.
Yes. And that's why I say, I know whatever it is I put my mind or my effort into, like I know I'll do well at it, because I know the skills that I'm going to bring will help me become great at whatever it is that I decide to do.
Is there some advice that you wish someone would have said to you as you think about now where you are to share back, to give back to a young athlete?
Yeah, I think for me, it would just be to stay the course. Like it's a bumpy road. Not everything's going to go perfect. It's just kind of like the process will take care of it. And so just sticking with the process and don't try and make stuff up. Another thing I kind of came to the realization of when I was kind of towards the end of my career was like, you're not really in terms of like a competition thing, people are always trying to compare themselves to somebody else. I want to be better than this guy or better than that guy. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about being your best self, right? Like you can only be as good as you can be,
right? Physically
or mentally. So putting in the work to help build that. But like you're competing against yourself at the end of the day. You're not competing against the guy across from you on the field.
Right.
They're just going to kind of show you where you're at.
It's a mirror.
Yeah. So it's kind of like take that, diagnose it, do whatever you got to do. But like you're just trying to fine tune your own skills and be the best version of yourself.
That's great advice. That's something that I've been learning over these years of like, you think you're competing against this guy, but it's like, no, you're really competing with yourself. And that person is really just that mirror for you. And so it's so true, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Last question for you, Andy. This has been great, man. I know you were nervous about some of my questions, but when you think back over your career and you think about your upbringing and how you've had to put in that time and work, what intangibles do you think has made you who you are today?
The effort that I've put into things. I feel like it's easy to kind of not, to kind of just let that go and be like, I don't want to do that. And so it's like putting the effort into the hard things. When you get to look back on those things, having put in that time and effort and the hard things, it's so much more rewarding.
Yeah, man, Andy, watching some of your stories has been fantastic, but also for me, hearing it and hearing some things that even, us being in a car driving to work every morning, the things that I didn't really know. Yeah. But when I do look back over those times, I do see the consistency and the work ethic of who you are. And so I really appreciate you joining me on the Intangible Podcast. It's been fantastic. Can't wait for other people to hear your story.
Man, thank you so much for having me on and allowing me to share my story.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.